And welcome back to Gamecock Chalk Talk. Corey Miller joined now again by J.C. Shurburtt, 24/7 Sports, thebigspur.com. And we talked about the team, kind of looked back at some of the games last year that they won and lost, looked at the coaches, some changes on defense. Now let's talk about the players. Let's talk about the Jimmies and the Joes, because let's be real about it. I understand coaching is one thing and diagramming and, putting together a game plan, but the execution of the game plan is really where it's at. I mean, you got to execute and you got to have talent. You got to have talent. If you got great talent, a coach can always look great, right? And some question, as I was reading this book, coaches, one thing they said, they have some good players, but they don't have top-level players that the Alabama, the LSU, the Georgias don't want. You agree or disagree with that?
I agree with that, but I think it's all relative in terms of, some of these players that maybe Alabama or LSU or Georgia did not want are pretty good football players. And covering recruiting, sometimes guys are close enough, and
right.
You can get them there. Sky Moore, I bet Miami wishes they had Sky Moore right now. I bet Auburn would have liked to have had Jonathan Walton at times last year.
In Miami game.
So there's guys that certainly maybe they didn't have the offers of some of the bigger schools, but they can be just as good. So that actually nailed it on the head. They do have talent on the defense, although it may be guys that weren't heavily recruited by the powers of college football.
You don't have to have the best all the time to win championships, that's for sure. Let's go to the screen. Let's take a look at some of the top returning players on offense that's coming back for the Gamecocks. No Dylan Thompson. That means I guess Farrah Cooper might play quarterback, though, but at wide receiver, he's just made the Paul Hornung watch list, one of the best wide receivers JC in the country. Connor Mitchell, we expect him to be the starter at quarterback. I love Brandon Wiles, known him since he was 7 years old, and we coached against him in Pop Warner football. And one of my unsung heroes, a guy that I think has the potential to be a high draft pick if he stays healthy, they give him the ball, Jarrell Adams at tight end with his size and speed.
I agree. First of all, talking about Jarrell Adams, here's a guy that has tremendous athletic upside and ability. It's just a matter of consistency. Of course, with Roy Anderson here the last 4 years, he was kind of in a platoon situation.
Right.
I think if he can be more consistent, he can be a special player. Connor Mitch impressed me tremendously in the spring practices that I watched. I know that the coaching staff is very high on him and his ability. One thing people don't understand about Connor Mitch is he's a little bit faster than you would think. He'll pull the ball on the zone read and go, and he's not running slow. He's probably just as fast as Steven Garcia was when he was here, and, of course, he ran that offense well. And then, of course, Farrah Cooper, like you said, he's the best player on the South Carolina offense. They're going to use him in a variety of ways. He's going to draw some double teams and extra attention this year, which I think will open the door for a guy like you mentioned, like Brandon Wilds, and the run game in general. Brandon Wilds, David Williams. South Carolina still has very good running backs right now, and I think that'll be important for this season. No
doubt about it. They're going to have to definitely be good, and if the running game always helps a young quarterback, especially that makes things a little bit easier for him, make it more comfortable, and I would assume Steve Spurrier will allow him to make safe throws, not ask him probably to win games early, but that game in North Carolina will be a big test for him with Gene Chiswick, the new defense coordinator of North Carolina, see how he would play Connor Mitch. To the defense, some of the top guys that are on the roster, Sky Moore, of course, nothing to be said there. JC loves him very much. He's a good all-around linebacker. Marquavius Lewis, a guy that he is to be the guy on the defense that's going to get pressure. Gerald Dixon Jr., however you want to, big and little. And then Chris Lamont, JC, some of the top guys coming back. And you like the guy from Kansas that's going to be coming in.
Definitely. Isaiah Johnson, the safety transfer from Kansas. When you watch him on film, Corey, he's playing for Kansas, one of the teams that struggled in the Big 12 against Big 12 offenses that throw it. So obviously there's a lot of opportunity for a safety to make plays. And he makes play after play after play. I think he'll be the best safety on the South Carolina roster as soon as he steps on campus or on the practice field or whenever. It's a matter of learning the system. You also mentioned Chris Lamont. I think he's got a special future, bright upside at corner. He's one of those South Florida fearless kids that'll get out there and make it happen. And then Marquavius Lewis, I thought he had a very good spring, and certainly from a talent standpoint, brings a lot to the defensive line for the Gamecocks this year.
I can't wait to see this guy play because they love Marquavius Lewis and think he's going to be a special player for the Gamecocks. As you mentioned, they struggled at the defensive line, and they got to get pressure on the quarterback. Well, folks, I wish we had another hour because we got some good stuff to get into. But next Monday night, we'll be live from Hoover, Alabama, the SEC Media Day, and that's going to be great. J.C. Shurburtt, Brian Hand, and myself will have you covered. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll look forward to being with you on next week with Gamecock Chalk Talk.